Anakin Skywalker was given the name Darth Vader after cutting down Mace Windu in Palpatine's office, and Darth Vader went on from there to kill countless Jedi in the temple, before losing to Obi-Wan on Mustafar. And after losing, which resulted in Vader being put in the iconic suit, it took roughly 4 weeks for him to be ready for a new test of fighting Jedi. But after those 4 weeks, Darth Vader was dispatched to the planet of Mercana to clean up Order 66 remnants, including 3 hidden Jedi. While on the planet, Vader is confronted by one of them, and this is the story of how Darth Vader killed Jedi Master Bol Chatak for his first kill inside the suit. So, for background, Vader is confronting troopers for failing to kill these Jedi. He is about to execute them when a Jedi jumps in to interfere. So, let's read. In one swift motion, Vader drew aside his cloak and pulled a lightsaber from his belt, igniting it with a snap hiss. The hilt projected a crimson blade. A Sith blade. The 4 commandos fell back, raising their weapons. "We'll accept execution for our actions," Clymer said, "but not from some lapdog of the Emperor." Quickly, Commander Salvo and his officers stepped forward, but Vader only showed them the palm of his hand. "No, Commander. Leave this to me." And with that, he moved on the commandos. Spreading out, they fired. But not a single bolt made it past Vader's blade. Deflected bolts went straight through the helmet visors of 2 of the commandos, and in 2 furious sweeps, Vader opened the pair from shoulder to hip, as if they were flimsy ration containers. Clymer and the 3rd commando took advantage of the moment to break for the nearby tree line, firing as they fled. A deflection shot from Vader caught Clymer in the left leg, but the bolt didn't so much as slow him down. Vader tracked them, then motioned to his cadre of troopers. "I want them alive, Commander Oppo." "Yes, Lord Vader," was the reply. Oppo's shock troopers raced off in pursuit of the commandos. Not one of Salvo's officers had fired a weapon, but now all of them were regarding Vader with vigilant uncertainty, their rifles half raised. "Don't let my weapon fool you," Vader told them, as if reading their thoughts. "I am not a Jedi." And from off to Jedi shrines left, a familiar voice shouted, "But I am." Bol Chatak had unwound her headcloth, revealing her vestigial horns, and had ignited the lightsaber Shrine thought she'd had sense enough to ditch when they were captured. Vader whirled, watching Chatak as she began to stalk him, prisoners and troopers alike, giving her wide berth. "So much the better that one of you survived," Vader said, waving his crimson saber back and forth in front of him. "The commandos saved your life, and now you hope to save them. Is that it?" Chatak held her blue blade at shoulder height. "My only intent is to take you out of the hunt." Vader angled his blade to point towards the ground. "You won't be the first Jedi I've killed." Of course, this will be the first for Vader in his suit. And their blades met with an explosion of light. Fearing that the prisoners would use the distraction to scatter, Salvo's men hurried in to form a cordon around them. Pressed in among everyone, Shrine lost sight of Chatak and Vader, but he could tell from the angry clashes of their blades that the duel was fast and furious. Momentarily immobilized, he allowed himself to be swept up in the surge of the crowd, so that he might be raised up over the heads of those in front of him. For a moment, he was, just long enough to glimpse Chatak, all grace and speed, working her way into her opponent's space. Her moves were broad and circular, and the lightsaber seemed an extension of her. Vader, by contrast, was clumsy, and his strikes were mostly vertical. He was, however, a full head taller than her, and incredibly powerful. At various times, Vader's stances and techniques mimicked those of Ataru and Sorasu, but Vader appeared to lack a style of his own, and executed his moves extremely stiffly. With a whirling motion, Chatak got far enough inside Vader's long reach to inflict a forearm wound, but Vader scarcely reacted to the hit, and instead of seeing cauterized flesh, Shrine saw sparks and smoke fountain through Vader's slashed glove. Then he lost sight of them again. Wedged into the crowd, he wondered if he could use the Force to call one of the troopers' blaster rifles into his grip. At the same time, he hoped that Starstone had abandoned her lightsaber at the landing platform and wouldn't attempt to join her master against Vader. "We need to learn what happened to the Jedi," he tried to send to her Jedi Padawan. Our time for dealing with Vader will come. Be patient. He wondered if he was right. Maybe he should attempt to reach Ch'tak, weapon or no weapon. Maybe his life was meant to end here and now on Mercana. He looked to the Force for guidance, and the Force restrained him. A pained cry cut through the chaos, and the crowd of prisoners parted way just long enough for Shrine to see Ch'tak down on her knees in front of Vader, her sword arm amputated at the elbow. Vader had simply beaten her into submission, and now, with a flick of his bloodshine blade, Vader decapitated her. Sorrow lanced Shrine's heart. Unreadable behind the mask, Vader gazed down at Ch'tak's slank body. And that's the story of how Darth Vader killed his first Jedi since being put into the suit. It was his first time not only killing a Jedi, but fighting one since being put in a suit, and it's from the perspective of another Jedi hiding away. Of course, her name is Shrine. There's a third one here that is also not attacking. So there was a couple Jedi that watched the fight, but they didn't have lightsabers at this time. So this Jedi watches, noting Vader goes back and forth from Sorasu and Ataru lightsaber forms, but is unstable to do either of them well. Vader's struggling with mobility, struggling with speed, has to adapt to just using sheer power, and after getting struck in the forearm, Vader is able to use his immense power to kill the Jedi. It's not described exactly how it's done, I do wish it was, but after being struck, Vader just, I assume, uses his immense force powers, his immense strength. I mean, it's said in the book here, Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader, that as he's struck in the forearm, he just doesn't even react, and I assume just gets more angry. The Jedi in hiding notes that Vader doesn't, have flesh or blood. It's just wires and sparks that fly out of his forearm. I do wonder what kind of pain he feels here. Vader, I'm talking about, when he gets struck in the forearm. Obviously, it's not a true limb, but I have to wonder, how much pain does Vader feel? Another perspective of this is when he's fighting Luke on Bespin, and Vader kind of gets struck in the forearm by Luke and screams out in pain. So I wonder, does he feel pain? There was no reaction here. Maybe his suit is much more upgraded by the time of Empire Strikes Back, so he has more feeling, can feel more pain. Because that's interesting. It's interesting that he just, did get struck, didn't think anything of it. But the next video I'm going to put out is going to be Vader kind of discussing or thinking, how did this happen? How did he get struck by this Jedi? And, didn't even take a hit while in the Jedi Temple, but that's for later, as he talks about a lot more in that next video. But anyways, what do you guys think of this? This is Legends, of course. This book is now Legends, but this is the Legends first Jedi that Vader kills since being in the suit. Of course, you could argue the first one as Darth Vader is Mace Windu, or the first one as Darth Vader came inside the Jedi Temple, but this was the first one after 4 weeks after losing to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's much harder. He's much stiffer, he can barely move, doesn't have the power he used to have. And we'll talk about what Vader thought of not having that power in the next video, so hope you look forward to that. Thanks for watching this one. Out of all the Star Wars videos in the world, thank you for choosing mine. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.